going on, you guys? Back with another video. I got a really cool one for you guys. As a lot of you know, Auxbeam was my first initial sponsor back when I started the channel. Oh, I don't know, probably 4 years ago, but they started coming into the videos I think 2 years ago. They're a super cool light sponsor. A lot of you guys asked me where I get the headlights on my truck. So that would be these halos right here, which they have a really ugly tint on them that I'm going to take off, but besides the point, they have a halo on them and they're an LED. These are from Auxbeam. These are a 7-inch Jeep headlight. A lot of you guys asked me about this. My C10 Pre-Runner had all their pods and lights on it. Sean's Jeep has all their lights and pods on it. I really love the quality of these lights. They don't require a super big harness, and they plug right into the stock harness and you can run them, and they've served me well over the last few years. But today is really cool because I got something totally different than lights, and I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. And as you guys know, I've been doing the interior lately on my truck, and I'm almost done. A lot of you guys are talking to me about this big hole in my dash where there's no radio. So there's a whole center console that's being built for this thing, or I'm starting to build for myself for it. And with that is going to be a switch panel in the center console, because if you look at my truck right now, my fuel pump and I believe the halos for these lights are hooked in a really janky, just a temporary switch panel that I really wasn't keen about when I made it. It just was all I had, and I needed to get it to working, so now we finally get to change this thing out to something else. So as I go in the truck, you can totally see what I'm talking about when I look right here. It's literally just this piece of angle iron with some crappy switches in it. And then there's the hole in the dash I was talking about, but there's supposed to be a center console that I'm building that goes all the way to the back. So it should be really cool. But unfortunately, I'm not done with that yet. So I've got to improvise and make something else work. So if I come inside here, we've got this guy, which is super sick. I didn't even know this was a thing until Auxbeam introduced me to it. So as you can see, this is a custom switch assembly that pretty much goes to a power source that goes to the battery and then runs to whatever accessory you want. As their case, they're all lights, but for me, I'd have like a fuel pump and then like one set of lights. But look at how many items you can run off of this one thing. This is super cool. Let's get into this. So right out of the box, you can see this is the switch panel that we're actually going with. And if you open it up, it's super cool because they actually have all the instructions and pretty much laid out the diagram. Super simple for everybody to understand right there. There's no janky 1000-page manuals you got to run through. And then if you look here, these are actually the stickers that would go right on the switch panel, which is right here. So this guy is the actual push button thing, and it's not cheap or anything like that like the Amazon ones you get. Look at this thing, it's pretty sweet. You can hear they're all click buttons. They're super like nice and firm. They're not all cheap, and this whole thing is metal. It's not plastic, so it doesn't just like fall apart over time. And on top of that, you can see you got 8 things to choose from, which run across this entire thing, so you can run a total of 8 items. And then when you come down here, you can see I got a custom little sticker sheet. They're all textured out and ready to rock on there, so you can just pop them right in there. And there's a ton of things to choose from. Look at these things. They kind of got comical with this thing. They even have light cubes and all sorts of cool stuff. So for me right now, I only need 2 things. I need a fuel pump, and then I think one of these are ambers, so I can use an amber light. So I'm only gonna need 2 right now, which is gonna be really helpful. But coincidentally, they made the job super easy. So a lot of you guys back when I actually made a video making a relay block, which a lot of you guys were talking about, it's a really kind of difficult thing to do, but it's cheap at the same time. Here's the really cool thing about this. You can see they got this switch assembly. And so this, as you can already tell, is a compacted version of what I've already made. You can see it's got fuses in it, and it already runs a power block off of fuses, and it gets power from the battery. So battery comes in here, gives power to this block, and then you can see it's just got little distribution block that sends power out to whatever items you got. So this is already what I spent all that time making is concealed in this little package, which is really cool. So if I pop this open, you can totally see what I'm talking about. It's got a set of spare fuses right there. I didn't know about that. That's pretty cool. So you got some spares. It came with a bunch of fuses already inside of it. So you get to pick and choose what you want to use, and it should run pretty good. It's also nice and clean. It comes with battery terminals. Coincidentally, I already think I have these, so there's a couple things in this I won't use just because I've already done this. But if this is your first time doing it, it comes with literally everything you need to do, including the fuse breaker to go inside in between the battery and the switch assembly. So if you got some bracketry right here, I believe this would go to the actual switch panel somewhere, and then I think that holds that up. We've got some wires to run. We've got our battery terminals right here, some spare wire. I believe this is what connects these 2 together, if I wanted to guess, or this one of the 2. I really got to read the instructions before I talk about this stuff. It comes with all the hardware, and the tools is really sick. And then, yeah, I can't get over this. This is like super clean. I'm kind of angry that I made mine and spent all this time when I could have just done this, and it's in a concealed little package. Oh well. So before the video begins, I did want to give a massive shout out once again to Auxbeam. These are super good guys. They're really looking out for all the off-road people, and as well as the street car people. This is a universal item that works on a lot of different things. I've taken a lot of their products that are meant for, say, Jeeps, and I put them on old trucks. So a lot of you guys have got to realize that this is universal and you can put this in literally anything. If you got an old hot rod, if you got an import, this can totally be something you can use. Now, I'm gonna end up putting it kind of where my radio goes. So if you've even got a radio delete and you want to make a custom switch panel where the radio goes, this is the perfect thing for you. It fits, it looks professional, and it's not just a little cheap plastic one that you go buy on eBay. So this thing's super, super sweet. So without wasting any more time, I'm gonna get right into this thing. We're gonna get this thing in the truck and it's gonna look freaking sweet. I can't wait. If you guys are interested in the switch panel, you can go down to my description down below. Click the link in my description. It'll send you over the switch panel. And before you check out, go ahead and use the code TheCraig909. That'll also save you guys 10% off at checkout. So go down below, click the link, check this thing out, pick it up for yourself, and this thing will look pretty sweet in the truck. So let's go get this thing in the truck. I'm super excited. All right, so I've got this laid out in a decent manner. It's still pretty messy, but I'm gonna try to explain it as best I can. So pretty much starting at the switch panel here, we've got a really nice, actually waterproof connector, which looks really cool. So you can see right there, and it actually, it's a waterproof fitting, and then you would slide this over, and then it screws on and locks it on. So that's pretty cool there. That pretty much runs in a big cable to this guy. This plug would go directly into the back of this, and its job is to pretty much give power to this to tell where to put power, essentially. So that switch is telling which one of these to give power. So whether it be your fuel pump, lights, or whatever you got going on, that's the controller. And then you get power to this guy through the battery. Off of these two leads, you got a positive and negative. I believe this one's marked red. So I believe that's our positive, and that would be our ground right there. And in between the two, you would put one of these. This is a breaker. So if for whatever reason the battery terminal grounds out on anything or something in the system messes up, this is pretty much a fuse. So this thing will break. It's a 100 amp breaker. So if anything goes wrong, it'll break this breaker. And the nice thing about it is you don't have to go buy another one. You can just simply reset this one. So you want to put this somewhere in between the battery and this. So if something goes wrong, it'll break this and not something like your lights. But anyways, you got this all pretty much laid out. So it should be pretty simple to just plug this in. Essentially, I'm going to put this where I want it in the cab and then run the super, super long wire to wherever this thing is. And then you can kind of put this stuff really wherever you want. I mean, these are your battery cables, so you would probably you don't want a stupid long battery cable, otherwise it's just drawing power. So this should be somewhat close to your battery, and then pretty much this cable's like, I don't know, 6 feet long, so you can run that pretty far. So I'm gonna pretty much I think I'm gonna put it in the engine bay. I don't know, I'm gonna fiddle around with it and get this thing in the truck, and I'll kind of update you when I got it in a spot that I like, so yeah. All right, so I got caught in a little bit of a pickle. So for those of you who don't know my setup, this is the interior of my 71 Ford F100. And you can see I've got an Optima red top in there that's paired with my own like fuse distribution block. But the nice thing about this whole kit is this is essentially the same thing as this. So as you can see on the label, this thing puts out 60 amps of power. So you won't need to run, you know, you can see I've got, I think these are like 40 amp relays. Yeah, these are all 40 amp relays. So I can run 60 amps of power off of this. And it's got the fuses inside of it like we saw. So it's literally the exact same thing as this. So if you're getting this kit, you don't need to make one of these. So that's what's really nice, is I can actually just replace this big, I mean, kind of a mess that I got going on here with this nice clean little box. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna actually just take this entire thing off and just assemble it, which kind of makes me cringe a little bit considering I just spent like a week straight building this. But Auxbeam makes it super easy, so you don't have to build it. So if you were confused about the relay block that I made previously, you don't have to. Auxbeam goes the extra mile and goes ahead and makes it better. So this is actually an upgrade. So we're definitely gonna go ahead and replace this. It's got a little bracket, you can kind of see it sitting on there, that I can go ahead and bolt it to the fender, and then it'll run wires out of the back right here. These are actually holes. So you can see this. I can run wires out of that. So yeah, it should be pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off and get this thing mocked up. So I was curious as to where everything went, but if you go on their website, if you click the link in my description, it'll take you to this. This is kind of like, as you can see, you can customize it and change everything and make your own bracketry, and you can really put it wherever you want. And as I'm installing this, I was curious on actually how to set this thing up and where everything went. And the nice thing is it actually decodes what goes where, so I know exactly what sticker to go where and where I want the wires to go. So actually grabbing the unit, as you can see, so I was curious as to how these actually go in. My old one used actual like tabs, and so this one, it looks like these are just like pinch fittings. It's kind of hard to see on camera, the light's kind of bad, but the wire would pretty much go in right here. It's got a screw on the top that you screw down. It pretty much looks like it just kind of pinches the wire. So that should be pretty simple. And the nice thing is it also, on the instructions here, it goes ahead and it actually labels which one's the positive and which one's the ground. So that makes it super, super easy. So since I coincidentally have already done this with this guy right here, I already have my wires set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire this thing up and get it in the truck. Alright guys, you can't really see much, but I got it kind of rigged up. Like I said, you can't really see too much, but this thing is freaking legit. You can hear how much power that thing's got now. Dang, it's pushing 6 pounds now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was set at like 4.5, I don't know. But yeah. Alright guys, so I just finished all the wiring. It's taken me a little bit, but I cleaned it all up for the most part. And as you can see right now, basically what I got going on here, you can see it's just kind of loomed up right there. Got my grounds and my positives coming in. All the instructions tell you how to do this, I'm just kind of showing it. And then I got it just pretty much running into the cab. That's where the switch is running to. I went ahead and drilled a hole. So for the actual positive lead itself, and I believe the switch panel, I went ahead and drilled a hole right underneath that grommet. You can see the red wire. I haven't loomed everything in. I'm just hooking it up. But yeah, you can see actually the drill markings are still there. But I went ahead and drilled that hole right there, ran the wires through that, and that's the illumination, that black wire. I just haven't ran it yet. But yeah, that doesn't need to be ran for this thing to work. That just controls how bright or dark this thing is. So mine comes out of the opposite end of the cab, runs all the way over to, I believe, the switch. So mine uses the key and the switch, but basically what goes on with mine, and you can see if I flip that on, got green lights over there, then I flick it off, and then it cuts power. So basically, so you can imagine that this switch is the key, turning it on and off. That's basically, the power in would go to your accessory, and that would basically turn the switch panel on and off with the key. I added a secondary switch in there purposely, but you don't have to do that. You could run just a key, you could run just a switch, you could run either or. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Wherever you want to run the power in would be accessory or 12 volt. Doesn't really matter where you want to put it. You can put it literally wherever you want. So once I have that guy in, as you can see, it's on right now. So as you can see, I've got it. Can't really tell because it's too bright, but there's an on and off button right here. So I've got my fuel pump, and then I got my halos. See those kind of come on and off. And then you got a little on and off switch in the button in the center, where I can actually turn both of them on and off at the same time. And it memorizes what you did. So you can literally just have, 10 different things going on here, turn them off, and then you can turn them all back on. So yeah, it's literally whatever you wanted to do with this thing, you can do it, which is pretty sweet. And then when you're done, you can turn off your key or your ignition right here, and then it's all off right there. So yeah, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit more. Like I said, I am putting a center console right here, and that's where that will go. It'll probably go somewhere right next to my seat here. Then fill in the hole in the dash and whatnot, but I did want to show you guys how easy this is to put together. It really doesn't take too much effort. It's not really a hard thing to do, and I think it makes the whole switch panel deal look a lot better than what I got going on here. This is still temporary. I'm going to do a different switch somewhere else, but this is, I just wanted to make sure everything worked. So also don't forget, you can use my code TheCraig909. That'll also give you 10% off any item on the site at oxbeam.com. So don't forget to go use that. You can go ahead and check out all the links in my description. Use the link in my description. It'll take you right to the switch panel that I am using, as well as other products such as my lights, and as well as a discount code that'll all be down in the description for you as well to use. So with that being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a like. Let me know what you think down in the description, what kind of things I should do next for the F100, and a lot of cool things to come. I am going to get back on the Galaxy here in the next couple weeks. I do have to put a timing chain in that, so you guys can look forward to that. It's going to be a fun project. I'm not really looking forward to it, to be quite honest, but I want to get that car driving and drive the hell out of it. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
All I want is all I want is all I want is all I want is all I